Jeff, Jim, and Carmela, part number 11. Mehmet's taxi at 7:45, carrying Jeff, pulled up to the address of Carmela's parents. Jeff told Mehmet to pull in the driveway because they may not leave precisely at 8 p.m. Jeff walked up to the door and rang the doorbell. Carmela's mother came to the door, and Jeff was surprised with her beauty. It was apparent where Carmela got her good looks. Her mother's name was Della. Carmela's mother shook hands with Jeff as she welcomed him into their home. "I'm so glad to meet you, Jeff, and I'm happy Carmela met someone after only a few minutes in the country." Della laughed when she said that, and then had an embarrassing look on her face for revealing her desire for Carmela to meet someone who could settle her down. Carmela came into the living room, and Jeff could feel himself starting to feel the way a man feels when he's on the road of falling in love. Jeff was convinced Carmela was one of the prettiest girls he had ever seen. Jeff was also displaying class. He was dressed in a tailor-made suit he had purchased from one of the finest men's clothing stores in Hong Kong when he was on a mission to China. Jeff knew he and Carmela would be noticed when they walked into the club where the Turkish folk group was performing. Jeff would sometimes pay the band to play a song like a theme song when he walked in. Tonight, with Carmela at his side, he would rely on her beauty to make people notice. Carmela's dad shook hands with Jeff as he welcomed Jeff into their Istanbul home. Most of the houses in this part of Istanbul where they lived were old. It reminded Jeff of a friend who entered an antique shop in Bursa, a town on the other side of the Bosporus. His friend was looking at an antique cross which looked out of place in a predominantly Muslim country. The shop owner said he was always surprised when Americans became excited with something 100 years old when his shop was in a building that was probably 500 years old. To make conversation with Carmela's dad, To make conversation with Carmela's dad, Jeff asked Frank about the Turkish price of gold. It was currently $45 an ounce. He asked Frank what he thought the future of the price would be. Jeff knew all about the Turkish system, but Jeff had to continually work at not sounding like a know-it-all, which his unique talent of total recall made him just that. Frank said, "I think the price will drop to $40 per ounce before the middle of the year." Before Jeff and Carmela departed, Frank mentioned an unusual number of Soviets doing business in Turkey. His company, Joint Business Services, was receiving an unusual amount of inquiries from Moscow. Jeff was keenly aware of that, but he knew why they were in Istanbul. They, like Jeff, were looking for Vladimir.